central banks. They are called central bank digital currencies, or CBDCs. They are much like cryptocurrencies but much more stable. That is because they are controlled by governments. Several countries have launched their CBDCs. In Europe, Norway too is now testing its own digital currency.
He causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hand or on their foreheads, and that no one may buy or sell except one who has the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. This type of worldwide control of the monetary system and the buying of goods, buying and selling of goods, will only be possible through a digital system, through a technological system really, which is why I've kind of hammered the whole Antichrist technology thing lately on my channel. And that's what we're seeing a move into with that intro video of digital currencies, and a type of digital currency that will be one for an entire nation. And that's the direction that things are moving, and it's really to fulfill that prophecy that will take place with the worldwide control by the Antichrist in Revelation 13. Here's an article on September 21st, 2022. White House publishes comprehensive framework for digital assets. This article says that the move comes just 6 months after the White House issued an executive order setting out a national policy for digital assets across 6 priorities, as well as calling for an urgency of exploration of the case for a digital dollar. Here's another article on August 25th, 2022. Americans using cash less often foresee a cashless society. Many articles on this if you just type it into Google or search engine. Articles on this constantly. Cashless society, digital currency, it's a daily thing. Articles are getting written on this daily. And really the move and the adoption of a technological society, which is what we're completely moving in and living in, and it's spreading to the nations of the world that really aren't there yet, but it's definitely growing there as well. This type of society brings in the society that will harness the end times control systems of the Antichrist ruling over the world and all these systems. And with the technological society advancements, it really brings about even more corruption and more control. As we know, people are sinful and fallen, and many people don't believe in Jesus Christ, and many of these people are in positions of power. So there's evil within much of our positions of power. We're supposed to pray for these people and work towards bettering society, but there's always evil and there's always increases in wickedness, and in some places more so than others. China is one area that has it horribly, and they're a very anti-Christian, anti-God society, and so that's why it's even worse over there. I saw this video. This is just absolutely insane. Never even heard of this. I feel horrible for the people. There's no way I could live in China. I would rather live in the sticks in a tarp than live in China's society. Watch this video. This is crazy.
In digital currency news, China is exploring expiration dates with its upcoming digital yuan, or DCEP, which means the currency will expire if not used in a certain time frame. The digital yuan is programmable to the point that the currency can be made to expire, thus forcing consumers to use it up by a certain date. This is a twist on an obscure, unconventional monetary policy innovation known as a Gesell currency, an expiring money, which gives the issuing government a heightened degree of control over money velocity. If domestic consumption can be tightly controlled, then it's a way to not just increase the volume of consumption but to control the variance of demand for the goods China produces. The digital yuan permits a new method for surveilling the population, creating new data which can be tracked by authorities.
So they want to implement a type of digital currency, and a type of currency that actually expires. So if you're not spending your money on, groceries and gasoline, you're not allowed to even save it up so you can escape the system. You have to be a wage slave your entire life. That's evil. That's the epitome of evil, and it's very reminiscent and very foreshadowing of the type of system where no one can buy or sell unless you have a mark. China already has their social credit system where what they say and what they do bases like how they're perceived within society, and they can maybe not even buy train tickets or plane tickets if they say the wrong things online or do the wrong things. Now this news came out recently, and it's kind of in the realm of this, but credit card companies now, when you buy a gun using a credit card, that gun is now trackable, I guess indefinitely, or trackable to the person. They say in America when you buy a firearm at a shop or whatever, that you're not really tracked. They run you through a system, all this stuff, but then that paperwork eventually vanishes. Your information isn't held anywhere on that. I don't know if that's actually true or not. It doesn't sound like it would be, but they're saying now openly that if you do buy a gun with a credit card, it's trackable, which should just come up in the conversation of no more cash being around, because then everybody has to buy a gun by a system that's trackable. We're seeing all of this going on, as well as just the economic systems are kind of collapsing around the world. They definitely are in America. Inflation is growing huge through the roof. For some reason, we're not drilling oil anymore, but then we're dipping into our oil reserves, which makes absolutely no sense. What it really does is after an election, then the opposing parties get in, and then now there's no oil once again, and then they just shift the blame again, and it's a continuous, endless story. But there's a lot of talk about inflation, recession, depression, and this is all around the entire world. with much pushing lately of nuclear war. I'm considering putting a video out on that, but that is being talked about everywhere, almost like a foreshadowing type of predictive programming, maybe. But here's an article: the U.S. economy is going to collapse, says top investor. Many articles like this every single day. Just the other day, I saw the Bank of England says that pension funds were hours away from disaster, and that $1 trillion in pension fund investments would have been gone if they didn't step in and do some tricking of the system that they do. So this isn't to scare anybody or to instill fear in anybody. And something to realize too, a lot of these prophecies look like they're unfolding and they're beginning to happen, but we don't know the exact timeline. Something could happen, reprise could happen. Everything is on God's timeline. I mean, imagine if you were alive during World War II, it would have really have seemed as if, well, maybe these Bible prophecies are coming to pass now. So it's easy to look at what's going on in the world and compare it to Bible prophecy, and we're really told to do that by Jesus, to look at the signs of the seasons. I mean, it's hard to deny. Almost everybody really sees it, really looks. Even people who weren't Christians are starting to come around because of just how much it looks like these prophecies are coming to a fulfillment soon, or at least in the beginning stages, the birth pains of the end times. But we don't know exactly. So never to fear. We're never told to be feared. Never in the Bible does it say to fear the end times. And something you got to think about, that I think about, I look back on my life and how much God has always been in my life, seen me through every situation, got me where I am, just through everything he's done. Just because all of a sudden the Antichrist is here, God's going to not just stop caring about all his kids and stop working everything out how it's supposed to. Yeah, it's going to be really hard for some people. Some will even be martyred, but they're given such a reward that those people will, in heaven, would never look back at what happened on earth and say, I wish I wasn't martyred. They will have a glory beyond and just a closeness with God. And I mean, he tells us what it is. We don't know exactly what it is, but a great reward beyond anything anyone could imagine, worth anything the world could ever offer. So we don't know the exact timeline. We're never told to fear. God is not going to stop being good, and no matter what happens, it will work out perfectly according to his plan. But it's important to watch the signs and the seasons, just like we know when the fig tree starts budding, that summer is near. That's what Jesus said. So watch for these signs, and then we'll know when he is coming. So that's what I'll continue to do. I know we all will too. Thanks for watching, and God bless.